YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And in today's video, we're going over my favorite picks of the 2020 NFL Draft, going from 10 to 1. So I got a top 10 of my favorite, plus I think they may be the best picks of the entire 2020 NFL Draft. We'll break that down in just a second. Please subscribe. Almost at 50K. Support's been amazing. We have two channels here. There's a link down below for our second channel, the Goat House Plus. You're also going to want to follow the Twitter, and there's also more social media platforms down below, so just click those links, check it out. In our podcast, we had a little break because the draft, but we'll be back returning this weekend. We're on Apple and Spotify. There's about 7 episodes out already, more to come. Can't wait to get back on the podcast grind. So how do these picks become my favorite picks? Solid value, obviously. It doesn't need to be a complete steal. We went over steals yesterday. There's a lot of good steals of the draft, so I just want to see some solid value or correct value, just no reaches, obviously. I want them to be an instant impact player, a player that I can be excited about right away because what team drafted them, because they're that good of a player. Great fit. I want to see some great fits, be able to make an instant, kind of goes instant impact. I think if these players are good and they can contribute right away because how they fit, I think it makes them a pretty darn good pick. And, some of these will be unique or clever picks, and we'll break down what I mean for all these prospects and how they fill these points here. So number 10 is going to be a Rams pick here, TERRELL BURGESS from Utah, round 3, pick 104, about the range we thought he would go, or at least I would. But why I really like this one, I think it kind of is the last piece of the puzzle to what I think is a very good secondary. Maybe on the underrated side. They added Jalen Ramsey last year. Maybe they did give up a little bit more than we expected for Jalen Ramsey, but they add him. They got Hill on the outside as well. It's a good corner duo. And then you look at the safety duo in John Johnson and Taylor Rapp. I like Rapp a lot from last year. He's going to continue to improve. And you lose to Kel Roby-Coleman. He kind of had an off year. You kind of need a guy in a slot. David Long could be that backup corner on the outside. Also can play in a slot. But I really like the idea of TERRELL BURGESS in the slot. People listen to him at safety. Yeah, he played strong safety, but his best moments were in, the slot in the box for Utah and a very good defense, and was a key piece of that defense. So, yeah, why I like this one so much, I think it's a perfect fit in the slot there. I think it's an upgrade. I think he's kind of that last piece of the puzzle to make the secondary that much better, and I think he'll make an impact right away. So this is one that I'm really feeling after the fact here for the Rams. So it was a very solid pick. Number 9 is going to be Chase Claypool to the Steelers, one of my guys of the draft, one of the better contested catchers in college football from this draft class. On top of that, when do you see the guy of this size being able to play about 50-50 and equally at a high level outside and in the slot? That's kind of why people were calling him a tight end, because you see this big body in the slot, and that's the only big bodies you really see in the slot these days are those athletic tight ends that you kind of move out, but he's a receiver just moving in at times, and he does that at a pretty high level. So they picked him round 2, 49. I like this a lot. On top of everything I said about Chase Claypool, you add the crazy athleticism with the crazy size. We see what he did at the Combine. Only a few men in NFL history have been able to do that. He's kind of matching up with the Calvin Johnsons. Really, you can put him in a category with Calvin Johnson. And then, right there with guys like DK Metcalf from last year and Julio Jones in terms of measurables, weights, size, and the athleticism. So that means something. You don't want to overreact from numbers like that from the Combine, but it means something when you're in a group like that. And it's not like he wasn't a factor at all at the college level. He's a big-time factor. And I think this is a unique pick, too, because it's it wasn't really expected all that much, because the Steelers got a pretty good receiver unit. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, their number one, their do-it-all receiver, and then they got Johnson last year, which quick receiver, can play a slot, play outside. James Washington plays outside, kind of the deep threat. So you had Claypool. Now you add that big body receiver that can do a little bit of everything. They're going to have some fun with him and Ebron. Both can play, bigger body guys can play the slot, but two totally different type of players. So I think it's going to be really interesting with him and Big Ben. This offense is going to be high-powered, a lot of throwing. They're going to want to limit the runs to keep their backs healthy. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm a big Chase Claypool fan. It's tough to pass on a guy with that much upside. And is already ready to contribute, so I really like that pick for the Steelers. Number 8 on the list is going to be Isaiah Simmons, round 1, pick 8. One of my favorite players in the draft, maybe my favorite player, because such a unique player. You know, just I can't tell you a guy in the NFL right now that I can compare to Isaiah Simmons or Isaiah Simmons compare to them in really NFL history. You know, he's his own guy. You know, he's creating a position basically, creating a type of player on the defense, and he can play pretty much everywhere. You know, I list him as a linebacker that can do, you know, everything. You know, I think he can be a very productive pass rusher if you want to put him on the edge. He can be a solid corner, safety, whatever you want it to be. But I think he's a linebacker that he's gonna be you know, a hybrid player that's gonna make a huge impact, which they need. They have Chandler Jones kind of tearing it up for the Cardinals defense, and they got a solid secondary back there. You know, they need more. They need some more pressure on the quarterback, but kind of more of a presence where it's impossible to game plan against, and that's kind of Isaiah Simmons there. So, yeah, he's there at pick 8. I think it's a unique pick because, you know, the Cardinals didn't really need this. You know, those questions on their current 3-4, would he fit? I think he fits any defense, and they could switch. They have the players to be able to kind of be flexible, give a little bit of both looks, or even just strictly switch to a 4-3 if they want to. But too good to pass. You know, they don't focus on their main need because they got a player like this sitting there. So that is the main reason why it makes the list. Number 7 is going to be Trevon Diggs, which is interesting because he was actually number 7 on my list in the most recent video. But, yeah, obviously I'm in love with this pick. Obviously, you guys know I was hyping up Diggs all offseason here. My number 2 corner in the draft. You know, this one, I guess it's not super unique because he was kind of there. They needed a corner. They needed to take him pretty much. It was pretty obvious. But I do like him for a really, you know, for a solid Byron Jones replacement. I talked about fits in the past, and I pegged Diggs as a possible first-round fit for the Cowboys. I thought he was a really good Byron Jones replacement. You know, athletic plus physical corner on the outside. It's also a playmaker. You know, always attacking the ball, knows how to attack the ball. So this was just a gem of a pick, and it's mainly up here because, you know, Diggs might have been my guy. I got a bunch of guys for this draft, but he might have been the guy for me of the draft just because I was definitely higher on him than everybody else in the world, and I'm not really sure why, honestly. And the Cowboys said they had a first-round grade on him, so I think they see the talent as well. But the numbers check out, analytics check out, the play on the field checks out. Big Trevon Diggs fan, and the Cowboys get a good one there. Number 6 is going to be Jerry Jeudy, the Broncos, another Alabama guy here. This one's a round 1 pick, 15. Talked about when we were even live. I talked about it before the draft for the Broncos. Their number 1 receiver should be Jerry Jeudy because it's the perfect fit with Courtland Sutton, an up-and-coming receiver. Another one of my favorite guys from a draft a couple years ago, and he's going to continue to push in that top 10 receiver conversation, and a fantastic outside receiver. So you get Jeudy, who's about 50-50 outside in the slot. He'll be dominant in the slot. I think he'll be dominant outside as well. So you can put him out wide opposite of Courtland Sutton. You're going to make the defense choose. Who are you going to, you know, they're going to cover both, but who are they going to kind of focus on? Who's the number 1 corner going to go on? Or you can put on the slot the same side of Courtland Sutton, and it's just dangerous. You know, they're getting Drew Lock the weapons. It's a perfect fit. Get him at 15. Absolutely love it for the Broncos there. So that's number 6 on the list. Number 5, we're getting to the top 5 here. ANTOINE Winfield Jr., my number 1 safety in the entire class. He's a playmaker that can come up and hit you as well. I think he's a free safety that can also play strong safety and also will be a pretty damn good slot corner. Buccaneers have, last 2 years, I'd say, really built a solid young secondary. You know, a long list of corners that can play. A couple of the Auburn guys, Dean, Carlton Davis, but Sean Murphy-Bunting I like a lot too. So the corner group is looking pretty good. I mean, they've had MJ Stewart in there, probably the 4th best corner on their team. That's a pretty good corner unit for the future. I think it can start really turning things around this year and improving. You know, the weak spot was kind of the safety. Even though they have a list of players that can play back there, you know, Evans stepped up, Whitehead's a decent guy, but you can get better, and what you're missing is the playmakers to match your corner group. Get that extra playmaker, create that turnover, that game-winning play, and then you got yourself a secondary there. And they got Antoine Winfield here, who should have been the first safety off the board, and was not. The Buccaneers steal him there at round 2, pick 45. One of my favorite players in the draft. His father happens to be one of my favorite cornerbacks of all time. You know, kind of a guy that was doubted, undersized, sure tackler, not afraid to come up and hit you. And Winfield kind of brings some of that as a safety too, and being a playmaker in the back end. So the Bucs got a good one here. At number 5 on my list here. Number 4, another safety, Ashtyn Davis. Yeah, Winfield is my best safety in the class. I absolutely love this fit. Was a little surprised right when it happened. So this is one of those picks. It happens every year. After the fact, you really start to sit on some of these picks, really start to think about these, and you just really like some of them. And ASHTYN Davis might be the ultimate one of that group for this year. This is the best single high free safety in the class. Basically, a guy in the back end by himself, a rangy, speedy safety. That's a center fielder, essentially. And that is so perfect. And they have, and that's why this just fits this list in so many ways, because it's a clever pick, it's a unique pick, it's a surprising pick, because they have a darn good safety duo already. Obviously, Jamal Adams and Marcus May, who's pretty solid. Obviously, you can get better, but he's pretty darn solid and young. But Davis will be replacing May for the most part here, and it's because of Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams could be one of the best safeties, one of the best just all-around football players and talents on the defense side of the ball. And we saw what he did, some of the crazy plays he's making when he's kind of free roaming, doing his thing on the box, and having a true single high safety that is a very solid one. It just makes it that much easier for the defense. It makes it easier for Jamal Adams. It makes him better. So this is a big time fit, huge fit. Love it. They weren't afraid to get better here. Big fan of this one. Big fan of this one. It's more than about getting the player, the talent of ASHTYN Davis. As you can tell, it's more than that. And they get him in, a round 2 talent, possibly the best, I think the best single high safety in the class. Winfield, the best overall safety. But they get him at pick 68 there in round 3. So that is fantastic for the Jets. Really looking forward to watch this, and I'm excited about that one. Number 3, getting to the top 3, got CeeDEE Lamb. This is an impact player, obviously. My number 1 receiver, round 1, pick 17. No way he should have been there, obviously. And we understand everyone had their different number 1 receiver for understandable reason. Definitely makes sense. But he should not have dropped to the Cowboys. And it was, throughout this process, I'm kind of throwing out there that receiver is a huge need for the Cowboys. Some people strongly disagreed, for multiple reasons, though. I mean, the receiver unit led the league in drops last year, even though they got some good ones. But every team, a high-powered offense type of team, in an offensive league, needs multiple number 1s. To me, Cooper's a 1, Gallup's a 2. You need multiple 1s. Gallup's a fantastic young receiver on the rise, and number 2 is very important as well. And then you got Amari Cooper, who kind of comes in and out of games sometimes. But a fantastic talent, obviously. Yeah, McCarthy's offense, you've seen it succeed when they had the weapons. In Green Bay, actually won a Super Bowl, and then when they just didn't supply him with the weapons, we've seen him kind of fail, and it's really not all of his fault. And they get a guy here. They get a guy that is a number 1 receiver in the class, a guy that can play outside, play in a slot. It's going to be a struggle for teams to figure out how to contain or stop, Cooper and Lamb. And Cooper's another guy that I feel like is getting better as well, as long as he's on the field. So this is a big-time pick. Really like it, too, because they weren't focused on need. They just had to, and I do think it was a big need, but obviously there was bigger needs. But they want to get Dak the right guys here. Dak's not even really, by his age and what, the QB history has shown us, he's not even entered his prime. He's kind of getting there. And we know they can be a high-powered offense. So this is big time right here. Maybe one of the most impactful picks of the draft. And I love McCarthy, Jerry Jones, not afraid to get better here, not afraid to stack up something that it was a need, but not a major need. So I love it. Top 2 we're on to. Really love these top 2. Antonio Gibson, number 2, to the Redskins, round 3, pick 66. I've been hyping this guy up for some time, too. You guys should know that by now. And happened to be one of my guys of the draft, too, if you saw that video beforehand. And this guy is a stud. Most of his reps came at receiver. Pretty solid receiver. Great hands. Can go up and catch the ball. Insane after the catch. But when you see him at running back, it looks like a natural running back. Look at the vision. You look at the elusiveness. Pretty much everything. He has the power, and then he has the speed. You see him go to the combine running the 4.3s. Absolutely fantastic. Really hard to find flaws besides, you don't really, know where to put him. But I absolutely love this pick for the Redskins for so many reasons here. I mean, worth the pick for sure. I had a higher grade on him than that. Pick 66, round 3. And, the Redskins could, they got a long list of running backs, but so they could use a receiver, and then he'll be a big impact at the running back position as well. I mean, you see what Rivera brought into this, the Turner mind as the offensive coordinator, familiar with McCaffrey and with that style running and catching the ball out of the backfield. So and we've seen them line up McCaffrey in the slot as well, even out wide at times. So we're gonna see a lot of that out of Antonio Gibson. It's a key piece to this offense. They make sure they go get the guy, and you kind of go back. They do have a lot of running backs, so maybe he won't make an impact at the actual running back position. Running the ball a ton the first year, and that could be true. But you look at it, Adrian Peterson's got a one year left. Antonio Gibson's going to learn a lot. For a guy that's kind of new to running back, but kind of a natural, I think he's just gifted. He's just gifted at being a running back pretty much, but he needs to learn some things. Adrian Peterson, one of the best running backs of all time. It's a perfect guy in similar size, body types too. Perfect guy to learn behind. 1 year left on his contract, so that kind of moves up Gibson in the depth chart. And then you got Darius Geis, 2 years left in the contract, and he has the injury concern, unfortunately. They have Bryce Love as well. He has the injury concern as well. So we can be looking at Antonio Gibson, an all-around weapon, whether it's running back, receiver, or receiving back, slot, outside. But he could be kind of bumping himself up that depth chart in terms of the true running back, really, pretty early on in his career. So big fan of his game, an insane amount of upside, and he's just a ball player, a playmaker out there on the field. And the combination of strength, and athleticism is out of this world. So absolutely love that pick. And number 1, sticking with running back, got to go Clyde Edwards-HELAIRE, my running back one of my guys of the draft. Not too many people had him running back 1. I was very confident, firm on that. The Chiefs grab him, first running back off the board, very end of the first round. I take it the best team in football right now, the defending champs, know the best running back in the draft is. And this guy is a tremendous fit for this Chiefs offense. And people kind of worry, they're not going to take it back, and maybe it's not a worry, but people aren't, the Chiefs aren't going to take it back in the first. They're just not. But when they see a guy that is that good and fits that well, makes them that much better, they are not going to pass up on the opportunity. So he was that good, but the fit is out of this world. We're talking about probably the best route running back that I've seen, right there with McCaffrey, really. It's surprising because he's not gifted in terms of his length, I suppose, but his routes, his footwork are ridiculous. He's got natural hands. He's insane after the catch as well. But you look at him, he's a running back. You look at him from the running back standpoint, he's got the vision. He's got the elusiveness. He's got the quickness. Yeah, he doesn't have downfield speed. I think he's got enough speed. Once he's running like 50 yards or more, starts to slow down a little bit. Short legs, will do that. I'm not worried about that. The quickness is ridiculous. The vision all over the field, in the backfield, at the hole, past the hole, ridiculous. It's kind of a bailout guy too. It's kind of if everything doesn't work, you kind of just dish it to him, and he can make things happen. Just with Mahomes, this offense, it's going to be ridiculous. See what Damian Williams can do. Damian Williams can be a little faster, but Edwards-HELAIRE has more traits to his game. Definitely more and better traits than Damian Williams, and a better receiving back, even though Williams has the speed, obviously, and is very solid. You see the impact he makes in the Super Bowl. But Edwards-HELAIRE is the long term, build it up. Edwards-HELAIRE with Mahomes, the long-term future. Just love the idea of that. So this one is just a pick I feel really good about. Love the fit. He's going to be a huge impact. He's might be the highest drafted fantasy player from this class for a reason. There's a reason for that. So really excited to watch these players that I listed here. I mean, more than this, but really cannot wait to watch these players and how they fit in. I absolutely love the fits and love the instant impacts that they will make. Let me know your guys' favorite picks. If there's one that's just stood out to you, just after the draft, you just feel good about it, where they landed. It's just some of these kind of light goes on in my head, after teams pick them, that this is going to work. I feel really good about this. So that's what mainly this list was about. Cannot wait to watch some of these. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Don't forget to smash that like button. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to both of our channels. Follow us on Twitter. Any link that you need will be in the description and or the comments down below. Really appreciate anyone for their support. Really appreciate you being here watching this video. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.